Yeah, okay, time to live free. Plenty goals I'm achieving. Some real life topics and talking financial freedom. Mindset, soul and love, everything in between. This is Freedom Podcast. Tune in, live free. Hey, got my mindset right and I got the drive. Planning one day, no more job, no more 9 to 5. Love, money, mind. Love, money, mind. This is freedom. Tune in, cause it's going down. Woo!
Hi, this is Anna and welcome to another episode of your Freedom Podcast. In this episode, I interview Estee. Estee is a spiritual and motivational life and relationship coach. She's extremely passionate about helping you align with your true self and step into your fullest potential by doing the things that feel most like you. She's a leader of love and expression, a reading enthusiast, connector of her inner child, a stargazer, motivational being, and a lover of learning, and so active developer of spiritual, mental and emotional growth. You're going to love this interview. She's a fantastic person and really inspirational. So hi Estee, it is great to have you on the show.
Hi Anna, I'm so happy to be here.
It's good to connect with you actually, because I love doing this podcast because we can connect with people all over the world. And I know you're in Florida and we were having a bit of a chin wag before I click record, and I think you've got a lovely energy about you, so it's great to meet you.
Thank you. I'm very excited. I feel we could chat all day long.
And I know, I'm going to forget it now. I know we talked about what you are, and you're a motivational spiritual life coach, but I know there's more to it than that because you focus on this whole embodiment piece. So let me know if I've got that right and maybe give us some clarity on what you're doing right now.
I love that. Well, that's pretty right. I am a certified spiritual life coach. I do a lot of motivational coaching. I focus a lot on relationships, especially with yourself. And a mission for me is to become the embodiment of unconditional love and learn how to spread that to help other people do the same. And I feel one of the things I've really come to see in my life is how much it's so much easier to give that love to other people, but then to really turn that back around on yourself, it's kind of a little bit trickier. So I feel that a lot of people are just missing that and kind of need to reconnect with it, Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
I talk about my 3 pillars because it's a freedom podcast, and this is just from my journey of going through domestic abuse, coming out the other side, and just really spending a lot of time on my own and working out who like you say, the relationship with myself. And I talk about my 3 pillars that have given me equilibrium, really. And so the first one is freedom in love, which really links with exactly what you're saying. It's around self-care, self-love, really. And then there's freedom in money, because it's not all about money, but it's also, when I didn't have money or was struggling, that caused an imbalance in my equilibrium. So it's all, money is important to us to be able to live the lifestyle that we want to live.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then freedom in mind, which actually, to be honest, the word mind just linked with love, money and mind, but mind is a lot deeper. I don't really like the word mind or mindset, but it's a lot deeper for me. And it's, there was challenges that I had. There was days where I was trying to be perfect all the time and not releasing that energy and just getting upset. And I learned how to do that. And I think for me, we don't know what the future holds. There will be things that happen along the way, but actually being able to sort of work through those, and it's not about being positive all the time, it's just being able to work through things that happen,
Yeah, I think a lot of it for me is focus. I've learned the importance of focus. When you can channel your focus into things you can control in your life, because you learn very early on, or if you haven't, you learn at some point that there's so many things you can't control in your life.
Yeah.
And I think the more you can focus on what you can control, there's an empowerment to it, right? There is a sense of positivity because there's a sense of hope, right? That you can focus on something you can control, and thereby you're contributing, you're doing something. You don't feel helpless and so stuck, right?
Yeah.
So, love that.
Yeah, really good. I love that. So how did it all begin? How did you get to this point in Florida from LA? And you went to Europe as well. So
yeah, it's quite a whirlwind. I'm very blessed. I've had a very beautiful life. There's been a lot of challenges, definitely. I think we've said this before, everyone goes through something or another. I grew up in a relatively spiritual environment. My family was pretty spiritual, and we had a lot of these, you know, esoteric type of conversations. And I was in a school that really encouraged a lot of, you know, deep diving. I don't think it internalized so much as I got older. So my father got sick at a very young age. He's on the up and up, but he's been sick for a very long time. And I was very young when a lot of this happened, and people on medication tend to be very out of their minds. So there was a lot of like verbal abuse, a lot of emotional roller coasters going through in my family. And I'm one of 6. So we have quite a brood. We're a pack.
Yeah.
And so there was a lot of, you know, resilience you learn, and how to really talk to yourself, because there was a sense for me that I felt like I had to take care of the family. Like I needed to keep it together for them. And I was 14 when this happened, 13, 14. I was just entering high school. 26 now. And so, and I've moved out my family's home in the last couple of years since, but something that really started spurring me is from a young age, I started doing a lot of this positive self-talk in the mirror. I would, at the end of a day, if whatever was going on, I would go to myself in the mirror and I would talk to myself, and I would say, you're kind, you're important, you know, everything you've been through is okay. And I actually got it from The Help. If you've ever read the book by Catherine Stockett, it's a phenomenal book. There was also a movie with Viola Davis, I believe it was in 2011. And something she says to this little girl is, you is kind, you is smart, you is important. And the way she said it to her is this was around the time that my father first got sick and what I was dealing with. So it kind of stuck with me, and I started saying these mantras. And I've always felt I could be on my own because I had to do it by myself. I mean, I had a whole loving family for sure, but there was a lot of sense of you needed to be independent. You needed to pick yourself up because nobody else was going to do it. And so fast forward, like, you know, 10-ish years, I started really being in this space of self-development to really deep dive into who I am, what I needed. Because a lot of it was, I forgot a lot of, you know, my own self-care because I was trying to be there for everyone else. And I moved to Europe for a year and a half to Spain. I wanted to do my master's there. And I started really asking myself these questions, like, what do you even love to do? Like, who are you? I went pretty deep, and then I also had to face a lot of fun demons. And I think a lot of what I recognized was my ability to connect with people. Something I absolutely love is to have conversations, to learn about people's stories. And I find when you open up a space, like everyone loves to share a story. And so I started speaking with different people, and, you know, people were opening up very quickly, you know, in 5 minutes, like they were sharing a lot of their traumas. And I was like, oh my God, you know, like you need a hug, right? That was me. I wanted to give like a hug to everyone because I felt like a lot of people don't share. And I love that you create this space, right? They don't share a lot of what's gone on because nobody's asked them. And so I had a mentor, and she's brilliant. And she kind of encouraged me to start on this path to focus a little bit more on it. I mean, I was doing international relations. I was going to be like a UN ambassador or something. And so I started focusing on the conversations I was having with people. And I ended up, you know, reaching out to a few people on Facebook, kind of like that. And then I got a client that way. And it was so haphazard because I simply put myself out there. I just was like talking to people. And then all of a sudden someone was like, oh, could you work with me? And I said, sure. I mean, I'd love to be there to support you on your journey. And it's kind of like how it got to where I am now. And I've had, you know, various clients, and it's sort of grown on its own. I think I'm open to wherever it's taking me. I think a lot of it had to do with just being able to co-create a space for people to speak with them.
Yeah,
So that's kind of how I got here. I mean, I have no idea where it's going, but I know that I love what I do, and like love the people I meet. I've met incredible people.
Yeah, I
So
feel
many
like
people.
that. I feel like that.
Yeah, I'm sure.
and I contemplated doing this podcast like in a studio here in the UK, but I would never have met all the people I've met doing this like online, you know. So I'm so grateful for everyone that I've met.
Yeah,
But
and so much fun that you're doing this. You're putting yourself out there, and you're connecting with people from different time zones, different continents. I mean, it's so cool.
yeah, I know. So for people who are listening to this who could be stuck right now or going through something that they're like you saying about focusing on things that you can control and, you know, not focusing on things that you can't control. And because I think, you know, everybody has experienced that at some point. I remember years ago, like getting all wound up about things I just couldn't control.
Right.
Why am I even bothering, you know, looking back now?
But it's so easy. It's so
Yeah.
easy to get in that rabbit hole.
It's the
Yeah.
frustration of it. But for people who are literally really stuck right now, is there anything that you would offer as like maybe first steps or like anything that they could do from your experience and your journey? Or just a piece of advice, really?
Oh, it's a great question. I'm such a case by case basis person. I
Yeah.
think the best thing for anyone to do in any given situation, and I was someone who still a bit of an overthinker, like went through all the worst case scenarios and like planned out like what I would do in each one, you know? And all of a sudden I find myself like anxious, right? And so I think for anyone who's feeling really stuck and just down and like you just don't know, first of all, take a deep breath. I often find that just like sitting there for a moment, whatever you're feeling, I never try to be like, you know, shoving down my emotions. It's more just let it sit there for a little bit. Sometimes you just need to sit and be still. And then I would say, give yourself, I love this exercise, 20 minutes, just write down whatever you're feeling. It doesn't have to be dear journal, dear diary. It just has to be whatever you're feeling. It could be, this sucks, I'm frustrated, life is horrible, or, you know, I'm feeling amazing, whatever it is. But I always find that if you sit down for 20 minutes, you can just let yourself, I don't know, unload.
Yeah.
It really helps. Sometimes for anyone who doesn't like to physically write, there's something about writing that you connect with it. But I've done like recordings on my phone, you know, you can press like, you know, send a message to yourself, you know, and start swearing at the world, whatever you want to do. It's really helped. Like you unburden yourself. You know, sometimes I've been like, F this, and I just can't do this. The world is shit. And I'm like, oh my God. And it's so mad, you know, and you kind of feel better afterwards. So I would say to anyone is, first of all, take a step back, just breathe, and then let yourself deep dive for a few minutes even. I always encourage about 20 minutes of deep writing, but if you can just scream it out and then throw in some music and just start dancing.
Yeah,
Singing to your favorite song from childhood, whatever it is, it always gets you into a better space. And I just say, like, let yourself be.
Definitely. I love that. I think movement does, doesn't it? I've been looking at a lot around like movement and stuff for, you know, because I think sometimes people ask. I remember when I had 33 court hearings, had this real bad litigation after like leaving my ex. And sometimes I just like take the kids to school, come back and lay down. Do you know what I mean? Not doing anything.
Yeah.
Down and fed up and so I think movement is really good, and it sounds cheesy going for a walk in nature, but it does do you a world of good. Just getting out.
Yeah, when you're feeling, especially if you're feeling like the harder, heavier emotions, they get stuck in your body in certain places. Like, you know, when you have that feeling of anxiety, it's in your chest, you're like very heavy, and you're like, oh my God, the world is falling apart. When you like move that energy, like it has to go somewhere, otherwise it's just stuck, right? So it is cheesy, but it actually works, and it's scientifically proven as well.
Yeah. Exactly. What do you think about like meditation and breath work, and is there any particular things that you do? Or
every morning I've done a meditation of sorts. I am not religious about any specific meditation. I'm a big believer in exploring. Sometimes my meditation is I'm sitting outside with my tea in the morning and I'm just listening to some birds squawking. Because they squawk around here. I'm a believer in starting with anything that interests you. I've done some breath work. I typically tend to get dizzy with breath work, so I'm not such a big goer at it, but Tony Robbins has amazing priming meditation that I always recommend. It's a little bit of breath work. There's a lot of gratitude moments, and it kind of it's 15 minutes and you get to focus on things you love, you know, and why not? Who doesn't want to be happy like that? Be like, oh my God, I'm so excited. I get to like write a book or something, you know, and think about it.
Yeah. So for people who are thinking this Estee lady from Florida is amazing, I'd love to know more and be able to work with her or reach out to her. How do you help people and what services do you offer?
So I help people in various ways. It's really what they need. I'm a big believer in alignment. So like, you got to feel it, right? Like I don't believe everyone is meant to work with each other. You know, like there are people that you connect with greater. So I always start with a little bit of a call. How I help people is usually like one-on-one coaching. A lot of times it, varies. So it could be like one-on-one coaching, in quotations, I'm saying that because then it could be like, maybe for the session, we're doing like a deep dive. Maybe for a session, it'll be like we're dancing, or, you're writing like an FU letter to someone and you're just expressing some things. It's kind of a mishmash of a lot of different things, but services are typically one-to-one coaching. I do offer like mini programs that are like live workshops that, we work with people on. And currently my partner and I are working on an immersion. So it's in a couple weeks. It's like a 3-week intensive of just like come in and come out more as you. Like confident, a lot more like I know what I'm working on and I know where I'm going, that kind of feeling.
Love it. I do get a really good energy from you. I think you're amazing, honestly.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Just like feel that from someone. So would you say there's a particular place that you hang out, or have you got like a group that you invite people to, or do you?
So, oh my gosh. I've been changing a lot of the ways I've been reaching out to people. I do have an Instagram, Life with SDK, and I have a Facebook, which I'm way more active on. And we do have a group, the Our New Energy community that we've hosted, and I have my own group. It's called the Empowerment Collective.
Yeah.
Some people who show up on there and we just kind of cheer you up for the day, give you a nice quote to go with, or a mantra to be like, I can do this today.
Love it. Yeah, no, because that's what people need, isn't it? A lot of the time. I did this empowerment journal called Unapologetically Me. It is.
I love that.
I mean, it's a term that we know. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Came up with it. It was around like just being able to journal different things, and there's loads of like you'd quite like it actually, because a few F-bomb quotes in there.
It's so much fun. There's an empowerment to it.
Loads of really. I did it with a girl who's a designer who we just felt this need to do it because we both were just chatting one day and it just all came out. Wouldn't it be great if you could deck this and that? And in fact, I often think I should be promoting it more. We kind of like, we were doing loads with it, we created it, and then we've not really done much. But there's loads of quotes like, there's things like, don't be eye candy, be soul food.
I love that.
And
love that.
There's this other one. It's really cool, but it was like a place that you could journal your thoughts, and it was all about empowering women mainly.
Like that. I do have resources on my website, a few free resources like self-care guide, or a journal for like a 20-day like what's it called, journaling prompting kind of a thing. So if anyone's ever looking for that,
really good. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, just to get you started.
For anybody watching on YouTube, hello, and we'll put all of Estee's details in the comments section. So just have a look down there. You'll see her Facebook and her Instagram, and you'll be able to get access to all of these things that she's mentioned. And if you are listening to us on Spotify or iTunes, or any of the other podcasting audio apps, then you'll be able to see all these links in the show notes as well. But yeah, it's really good to connect with you.
Wow.
And I always ask this question because it is a freedom podcast, and I toyed with the idea of having freedom in the name because, when you see things online, it's always like, hey, 90 days, freedom, 7 figures, I was like,
yeah.
Freedom means, it kept coming back to this word freedom, and it's probably because of the domestic abuse, and I just was like, I just want freedom. So I went with it in the end.
I love it.
But when I decided to ask this question to everybody at the end, and sometimes on the birthday episode, what we do is we chop the answers to this back to back. So I say the question and then we see everybody's answers back to back. It's really interesting hearing.
It is interesting.
So Estee, what is freedom? What does freedom mean to you?
Oh my goodness, loaded question. First of all, that's an empowering word, and I commend you for that because it's incredible to even ask that to anybody and to live in that. Oh gosh, I would love to throw all these esoteric ideas. I really believe freedom is being able to fully be in a present moment, to really enjoy a moment. Like, when you're sitting at a beach and you're just there, like you can see the color of the ocean, the waves, like you notice a bird out yonder, like a mile away. I feel freedom is really being able to enjoy a moment.
Yeah.
It internalizes, you know, it does something to you. It's like remembering your first kiss. It was so potent, so in your mind, right? And it's there forever. If it's a good experience, if it's not, then maybe you don't remember it.
It's still there forever.
But I think it's there forever regardless. But being able to really be present in a moment and being able to enjoy it, I think, is what freedom is. Because when you have a collection of those, that equals a life of freedom, you know? And I'm a big believer in bite-sizable slices. I don't do like big jumps. So if you can get to a moment of every moment feeling a little bit more freer, eventually it, you know, adds up to a life of freedom.
Yeah,
so I think that's what it means to me.
Yeah, absolutely love it. It's been great to connect with you.
You as well.
I'll definitely check you out on Instagram and Facebook. But is there anything that you thought, oh, I really wanted to discuss this or tell everybody this? Is there anything that you want to finish on? If there isn't, don't worry, I'm not going to put you on the spot. But
what is freedom to you?
Oh, interesting. I haven't talked about this for a while. That's a really good question. I always say if I was asked, because years ago I would have been really focused on lifestyle and time. That was the whole reason of me kind of turning to the internet and setting up an online business. But now I think it's more about freedom of the soul and like just being free to be able to be who you want to be without worrying about what anyone else thinks.
I love that.
So,
I love that.
Yeah, I think that's probably it in a nutshell.
I love that. And look at you, you get to see your reverse gap, how far you've come, you know, what it will look like for you in the beginning and where you're at now.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I love that. Well, thank you so much for sharing all of this and sharing this space.
Yeah, no, well, thank you it's just good to connect with you. So if I can help you in any way in the future, do reach out to me.
Likewise.
And yeah, it's been great to get you on the show.
Well, thank you so much for having me and for all of the beautiful listeners out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Go and check out Estee. Have a look in the show notes, all the comments. Reach out to her, have a conversation. And yeah, this 3-month what did you call it? Submerge. This 3-month thing you're doing with your husband or partner.
It's a 3-week immersion. Yeah. I mean, if you wanna dive into something and commit to something and like accountability all the way, this would be the place for you to do it. It starts in about 10 days. June 17th, I believe, is the first day. And we go into it and you come out before the 4th of July.
There you go.
Get to celebrate.
In your independence.
Yeah, in your independence, in your own freedom.
Yeah, I love it. It's been great. Good to connect with
you, Anna.
Great
You
to have
as
you on
well.
the show. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Your Freedom Podcast. And don't forget to subscribe on iTunes and subscribe on my YouTube channel. And if you want to get more freedom in your life, then come and join Your Freedom Project Facebook group, which the link is below in the comments section. And I am giving you a copy of my visualization manifesting book. So manifest more freedom in your life and live the life of your dreams.
Hey, thank you for listening. Hope you had a blast. Here to elevate your life. It's the Freedom Podcast. Love, money, mind. Love, money, mind. Wanna see you all win. Wanna see you all shine. Just make sure that you subscribe. Bringing good vibes. Join the Facebook group. Now it's time to change your life. Hope you come back. Right now is the chance. This is an experience. It's the Freedom Podcast. Hey.